Good morning, Black Friday, November 27th, 2020. Like 2020 couldn't be bad enough. Hemi 5.7 liter, exhaust manifold, broken studs. This is the third time for the passenger side. Just did the driver side. I already made a video. I have to get it edited and uploaded, but you'll find that too. Check out my page. Subscribe for a plethora of different things, from RV help, ATV help, whatever. I post it, grilling, cooking. Anyways, get started here. Inner fender well has to come out. You'll find up here there's some push pin connectors that are holding wires on the other side. When you drop this down, you'll be able to take them right off. Up here, you're going to find body pin. Over here, you'll find a screw. Here, a screw. Then, of course, there's screws there. Come around here. There's screws there, screws down here, and that might be it. If for any reason it isn't moving, look closely, because these body pins are kind of hard to see. At least they were on the driver's side. Looks like one was removed there, probably by the dealership, not put back. Thank you. But this time it's on me. It's out of warranty. Still only 80,000 miles, and it's on its third set. So let's get the job done. All right, wheel well liner is out. You can see on the passenger side, if you haven't done a driver side or either one, there's so much more room over here. It's not perfect, I can assure you, but hopefully this side goes a lot easier than the other side, just because the other side you've got an oil dipstick tube, you've got steering geometry, there's a wire harness. I mean, it couldn't have been worse. Now, on this one, I can already see my broken stud. Not only is my stud broken, but my heat shield's obviously missing a portion here, but I'm not going to worry about that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to put it in there. This thing's still tight. It's not vibrating or rattling. So this one's not going to get a nut. Now, let me give you a heads up back here. I already got underneath on my creeper, and I took the collector apart. Before I started, I went underneath there a little while ago, and I put some Croyle penetrating oil on both of the bolts. And then with this extension wobble socket, I'm able to lay up under the truck and run that all the way up and line it right up and back them out. Now, the bottom one is easier to get to than the top. So when this goes back together, I recommend run the top in with the back hanging out, and then go underneath and run that back one in. You can probably tighten most of this from the top side right here just by drawing these by hand. And if you see the collector gap back here, you'll be able to go underneath and draw that back in, and you'll be able to pull that right together. So that's going to be something we do in the end. Needless to say, there's my broken stud. Hopefully I can get this manifold off over that and have no other issues, and maybe I can get some pliers on that. The driver's side, I took a 5/16 18 nut and I stuck it in a boxed in 1/2 inch wrench, and I had to put it right against the cylinder head, and I used my Lincoln MIG welder, and I plug welded the nut. I plug welded it, and then I used the nut to take the stud right out, and it worked absolutely perfect. So yeah, hopefully nobody else has to deal with that. I can assure you, videos online tell you about center punching, drilling, and tapping. There is no room that I could find to get a drill in here. Now, if somebody's got a really compact pneumatic right angle drill, if you're set up like that at home, God bless you, you probably can get it. A standard 3/8 or a cordless or something, they're just too bulky, and I wouldn't want to take a chance on drilling the ones that are broke off in the head on an angle and penetrate the head even in the slightest. So my risky move to plug weld the nut and back it out paid off big time. So let's get these out of here and get this job done. First thing we're going to do is set up our 3/8 drive ratchet with a 10mm socket, and we're going to take off the heat shield. and there's just enough room to work. So they say some people have all the luck, and if it weren't for bad luck, I'd have none at all. I started taking off my heat shield, and as you can see, the bottom stud snapped right off. So it was ready to go, barely hanging on. Now I want to show everybody something real quick. If you'll take a good look, you'll see that this nut is somehow buried or has been press fit to that stud. You can tell by the machining it's not one piece. The replacement ones I bought are machined one piece. Now I got these off Amazon. They are Everbuilt brand. So Everbuilt brand has that nut is part of that stud. I don't know if that's going to make a long-term difference, but if you look close at this one, you can actually see the line where this is manufactured so much different. I don't know if they heat press these together and they kind of bond as one, but that is definitely two different parts. And that's exactly where it broke. That's exactly where that one up there broke as well. I've got the nut on my bench. It actually fell off here in my driveway. So that being said, I hope the replacement bolts are the long-term answer, but only time will tell. This is my third go around with these. Keep in mind though, my first two were OEM. They were RAM repairs, so I don't think anything got improved. Hopefully this does improve it. My bolt kit from Amazon, Everlast exhaust manifold, 28 pieces. It came with extra nuts and a couple extra studs or something, so I guess they give you a future. But the truth is, you're not taking these apart without taking every bolt out. Replace them all. There's no sense in buying one stud. None at all. You'll kick yourself for doing it. Now with my 10mm, I'll remove all the rest of the bolts. The studded bolts are a 13mm. All the rest are a 10mm socket head. Let's get them out. Alright, got the exhaust manifold out, and here you can see the two broken studs. They both broke in the same exact spot. Because of this, I had to get a pry bar and put up in here, and I had to pry back on my pipe a little so that I could pull it straight off. Typically, if you were just doing a gasket or if they broke off up in here, it would come out clean. But with two of them broke like this, it had to come at least maybe an inch, inch and a quarter off square. Now, I will do some emery on this. I'll clean this up before it goes back on. I'll hit each one of them. Now these, I'm hoping with some vice grips, I can get off. Now, on the driver's side, the one was broke off clean in here. So what I did is I took a 5/16 or half, I'm sorry, 5/16 size nut for a 1/2-inch wrench, and I stuck a piece of writing paper, standard paper, over the nut, and I pushed the wrench on. And then I cleaned all the paper off so that that nut would stay in there. Then I held that wrench up there right over the hole, and I used my MIG welder, and I plug welded right up into the center, and I plug welded from the stud out into the nut. And then I was able to just take the wrench and just start it, and I was able to back it right out of there. These I hope come right out with ease with some vice grips. So let's get them out. Piece of cake. Okay, got the studs pulled out, and I took some emery and I tried to knock all the black off the ports. Yes, I can do that one there just a little bit more, but I wanted to get to the attention of the gasket. These are Felpro gaskets for 5.7, and you'll notice this taper to the back side on the driver's side and the passenger side. Since they don't say right and left, this taper back here goes to the back of the engine, closest to the collector when it gets installed. So that's the easiest way to know which one's which when you take them out of the box if you buy the Felpro brand. All they tell you is manifold side, but they don't say right or left. and they don't appear to be universal, because if I turn this around, that tapers to the other end. So, all right, in a nutshell, let me start getting some bolts in here. I will put one little dab of some Never Sees, and here's my recommendation. Run them in several threads by hand. It's an aluminum head. Don't use any type of power tool, or you shouldn't have to drive it in to get it started. You stand a big chance of cross-threading your head. The other thing is, don't run them all the way in until you have them all started, because you may need to shift it around a little bit to align all the others up. So one little dab of Never Sees just on the starting end. Run them in with your finger. If you can get 3 or 4 turns, you're probably good to go. And like I said, I'll clean that one there up just a little bit more. I was kind of stroking that way. I'll reach up that way, but anyway, it's a knuckle buster whichever way you do it. So, all right, here we go. All right, just to get started here on the return, you put in that stud up there on the end, and this one here, and the manifold has that one there and that one there. You slide that one on, then you drop that one in, and it kind of hangs there. Might need some help expanding around the collector, but shouldn't be a problem. So let's get it. Okay, I've got them all back in there by hand. I've got my stud ones in the locations where they belong. Now, the exhaust on the passenger side has this one additional one down here that's not on the driver's side. So I'm going to follow the torque pattern for passenger side, torque pattern for the driver's side. They're virtually the same. Torque pattern for the passenger side, and then after I'm done, I'm going to just hit that top one on the front edge there, which is part of the hold the thing on fork. Like I said, it's not on the driver's side, but it's definitely on the passenger side, and that's it. So let me get these tightened up, and then we'll put the heat shield back on. Just finished up exhaust manifold broken stud repair. 2014 Ram 1500 5.7 hemi, and I did both sides. I had one broke on the driver's, 2 broke on the passenger. So here's the startup. Please be quiet. Sounds perfect. 40,000 miles later, I'll do this again.